What's up, bitches? Welcome to Deliciously Nothing, episode 139. I'm your host, Nick Weir. I've got Drew Davis, Patrick Devine, my regular co-host, Rev.
Hola.
Let's get into it tonight.
Let's do it.
Hello.
Is that how you open? What's up, bitches?
Yeah, what's up, bitches is how I open every
What's
episode.
the guy's name who used to open his sets? What's up? What's up, bitches?
I don't know. I don't
yeah,
remember.
you do.
Maybe I do know, but I don't. I feel like, but to be fair, I feel like a bunch of open mic comedians open up with like, "What's up, bitches?" Or
Yeah, I've said it before in a set. For
maybe
sure.
maybe it's just because that's like a colloquial way of saying hello to nowadays.
Yes, I like to say it. That's just how I like to say hello to everyone that watches this, which is usually grandma and then other comedian friends of
You're calling
ours.
your grandma a bitch. What a bitch.
Grandma, yes. Grandma's a fan.
We also end with "fuck you all, good night" too. So
Yeah.
Okay, so they know your
know.
people like know their value or whatever.
Yes, they do.
I didn't break a bottle out, but if you guys are interested in drinking, I'll break a bottle out. But
I'm good. Yep.
you're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Right on. That's what I thought.
All right.
So I did
Well,
not
no
break a bottle.
booze.
We just lost like 4 subscribers there for that.
Probably.
That's all.
So
Sorry.
this isn't the drinking show, but
Oh, okay.
you know, it's after work for me, and I've had a shower and I've had some pizza, and I'm ready to throw the fuck down. But I'm not gonna be the only person throwing down. It kind of sucks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a Zen though.
Holy spark.
Yeah, what you do?
Just one for you, dude. Of course.
So I have got. Speaking of sparking up, have y'all ever heard of THCP?
No.
Have y'all ever heard of THC?
Like there's we have like ton of mics at the places that sell THC. Is that what we're talking about? Or
Yes.
yeah. Okay.
So
So it's like weed, lesser weed, right? Like is basically what it
I've
is.
never heard of THCP. That's
So
new.
THCA is what they
apparently.
sell at your mics and stuff, which is the hemp because of the 2018 hemp bill. They have hemp that essentially has a very low amount of delta 9 THC, and then has like 30% or 20% of THCA, which is not psychoactive unless it's burned. And once it's burned, then it's the same thing as delta 9. So then they can get away with it selling at the gas station or whatever. THCP is 30 times stronger than anything that's on the market.
Oh, all right. So is that what you guys got going on right there? Is that THCP right now?
No. 'Cause-
I mean, we could call it that if you want to.
no, I mean, I could break it out if you guys want to try it, but
You have
believe me,
some?
yes, I do.
Oh, is it flour or is it like
It's
just a
vape.
concentrate?
No, it's a concentrate.
How do they make it?
So that I don't know. And so that's why I asked if you guys ever heard of it. 'Cause it's like my experience of it as it said to take a half a draw, and then of course, you know, like me, I'm hot boxing it from the vape shop to where I need to be, which
Yeah.
is like 3 miles. So I'm hitting it like 30 times. It doesn't hit right away because, like, you know, like if I hit it out of a vape from anybody else's vape, like as soon as I fucking hit it, you know, I'm like, I feel it, especially if I'm coughing, then you get the head rush, and, you know, it's an instant high. And this, like, it took a fucking minute, and, like, I got out of my car, and I didn't really feel high at all, but I felt kind of off. Then when I got to where I needed to be, then I was like, oh, I'm feeling, like, really, really good. I'm, like, really 30 minutes later, I'm, like, so fucking high. And I'm just like, how can I be this high? It's like, this stuff is amazing, right? 30 minutes after that, I'm like, how is it so much fucking more? It got so intense, and I'm sitting there, like, losing my fucking shit, like, an hour into it. I'm just like, and I was at somewhere where you should not be indulging in products.
It was church, right? Like it was. We
It
walked
might as
into
well have been
church.
It might as well have been church. So, and then it's like another hour goes by, and I'm still so much more higher, to the point where, like, I'm starting to spin. And it's like, I'm just like, what in the fuck? Like, I've never got that high off of anything before.
Oh. Yeah, I know him.
And
Sorry.
so it's
That was from before. I was like, you remember that guy? I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, I know him.
So it was a pleasant experience.
Yes.
Are you still high from it right now? Has it dulled?
I was supposed to be finished from where I was at 4 o'clock, and where I realized it was 5:30, and I had a show here at 7 o'clock to do, and I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do it and everything, and people were already leaving for the day, and I'm pouring fucking sweat and getting nauseated and everything.
Oh, unpleasant.
Oh, not a good
So
time.
bad at all.
No.
So I wind up puking. So I go to the bathroom and everything, you know, and I'm like complete George Costanza, where I'm like taking a shit, and I've got my fucking shirt off and it's hanging up and everything, and then I got my phone out and I'm, you know, just I finish what I'm doing and everything, and I wash up and I walk out and everything, and there's 2 dudes standing out in the hall, and they're like, "Did you forget something?" And I look down and my shirt is off. I go back into the fucking bathroom, and then there's like, you know, my shirt, my phone's in there. Like everything that I had pulled out of my pocket just still there.
That's hilarious.
So I go back to what I'm doing, and I finally leave at like 7-ish, and like I'm texting Ruben, who's the host of the Hispanic show. I was like, dude, I'm gonna be there as soon as I can. And luckily we got the show going about 7:30. But man, like I just went into fucking slow motion. It was like being like drunk, like really, really fucking drunk to the point where you get the spins and everything.
Oh,
But again,
no.
I'm gonna say that I was stupid and I didn't go by the directions where it said start with a half a puff.
You were like, not
And
for
then wait
me.
some time. Well, like I hit it and then waited for a second and then like nothing, and then like I hit it again and waited for a second and then nothing. Then I'm just like, fuck it, you know, I'm just hotboxing it. And
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I hit it like 30. I hit it like 30 times.
So like a little bit more than half.
Yeah. No. So today I given myself a break because the whole entire weekend I was just hungover. So today I hit it twice. Man, talking about something that's going to save some fucking money in the long run. It's just like, I don't have to buy weed anymore. I mean, it's just like, seriously, it's just like 2 tokes and like if I smoke a joint, then like 45 minutes, an hour later, you know, I'm coming down and everything. 5 fucking hours,
Wow,
2
yeah.
fucking tokes, 5 fucking hours. I'm just like, God bless America.
Well, I'm I'm glad you found a way to cut your weed budget.
When was the last time you took a break from weed? Because I'll take like a week or 2 weeks.
Over the holidays.
It's hard to do.
It is hard to do.
And then when you come back into it, it's like you take a little puff and it's like, oh, nice.
Feel it, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I do smoke. I don't do drugs.
When,
We don't do drugs here. We don't.
Listen, I've been going to the Subway every Sunday on the way home from church,
Okay.
and there's never
real
anyone.
church or just church?
Oh, real church this time.
Okay.
And this time, that was so weird. I don't know why I said this time.
Because last time it wasn't.
Yeah, that's right. So, no one goes to Subway on a Sunday afternoon, in case you're wondering.
Like the Subway or a Subway?
Like the sandwich place, not the
Sandwich,
transportation.
sure.
Subway.
And it's just real. It's natural. There's these like 2 high school girls that work there that are always so high. They're living their best life. It's just and like I think they know they work Sundays because they know they can just go there and be high. And it's just every time I go there and they're making my sandwich and they're talking about good Lord knows what, it's like I look at them and I'm like, I don't think I've ever been this happy in life. Like what's it like to anyway? So when you were talking about getting high and like that being that high, I was like, maybe that's them every Sunday afternoon for a 5-hour shift. They're just because it's I don't know. My order's never been messed up yet, so I don't.
I mean,
you're into attention to detail when you're really high too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
they're making you artisan sandwiches at that point.
They're doing their best with the products they're given at Subway. So, anyway, but yeah, I realized that when I was driving home last Sunday, I was like, I think This has been like the second or third time I've been there.
What do
I
you
think they're
get
high
from
every time.
Subway regularly?
So I actually have a lot of different orders at Subways, and it all depends on my mood.
What kind of toppings do you get? Like on a turkey and cheese? You
No,
ever get
first of
turkey and
all,
cheese?
I don't do turkey. I mean, I can, but if I'm gonna order, it's gonna be like I'll get like an Italian, or I'll get like a buffalo chicken, or you know
Buffalo
what
chicken.
on days where I'm not super hungry, maybe feeling a little sick, like maybe feeling not super awesome. That's like a steak and cheese on pita.
Nice.
When I feel a little
There you
sick,
go.
I don't go to Subway. I feel a little sick. I'm just a little bit sick today.
That's probably the better option. But what's your
Do you
what's
get any
your
vegetables? That was
sometimes
my
I get
goal.
sometimes I get lettuce and tomato.
That counts.
No, I don't do like peppers, or I don't know whether they're olives, pickles, whatever people put. All that. No,
load
thank
it
you.
up.
So, yeah.
I'll do pickles. I'll do olives, onions, spinach or lettuce. Doesn't matter. You
I
know,
do the jalapenos and I do the banana peppers.
banana
I
peppers.
used to have sweet pickled peppers back in the olden times.
Back in the
got rid of
olden
them.
days of Subway.
There they.
I know like 20 years ago they had
I'm
them.
not a fan of their new menu. They try to. I don't know if you guys have noticed their new menu. I still just order the old things and assume they know what I'm talking about.
I haven't walked into
But you
a
can
Subway
still
in a hot
change
minute.
it. You don't have to make it exactly like they have it, but they're trying to force you to have like their versions of certain sandwiches and shit like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, like you've got to be high before you can go into a Subway, because like they're not appetizing. Like this, to smell a Subway is what I used to hate when I was used to play video games, and I would go into a GameStop. And every GameStop used to be by a Subway. So every GameStop used to have that like sour dough smell.
Right.
You walk in and you'd be like, what the fuck is this? It's like in every GameStop, and they're like, every GameStop next to a Subway. And I don't know if they have some kind of exhaust that goes to the fucking walls or whatever, but
Yeah, but so I don't have a sense of smell, and so everyone who does have a sense of smell, who knows I eat at Subway, always tell me about how gross the smell is, and I think that's why I don't mind Subways, because I've never smelled Subway, but I've heard. I mean,
No, it smells fine.
yeah,
It is a weird smell to it. Like I can think there's one I know that's by like a liquor store, and I've gone in there several times.
a
Smells weird?
Subway
Yeah.
should smell like baked bread. Like you should go to like a bakery, like because that's what they're doing there, right?
Yeah.
They're baking bread, correct? I could be
they're
wrong,
defrosting.
Technically.
Defrosting their bread.
but it doesn't. It just-
They're
smells like feet.
squeezing a tube out and making bread from it. Like, I don't know.
Remember, they used to have sawdust in the bread. There used to be a certain like inert matter.
Yeah, you still have, there's, still regulations like that have some leeway. Possible to not have bugs and stuff.
Well,
in
I've been saying
peanut
there's a
butter.
certain amount of like fly heads and maggots and stuff. Like in olives, especially, there's a certain amount of maggots that are allowed per jar of olives and shit like that. Not that I've ever found a maggot, but I love olives. I don't know if I like pulled out an olive and saw a maggot, but I don't know if I.
Not a deal breaker.
Yeah, just,
You might just eat it.
clip it.
Let's get all for it, dude.
Yeah, add some protein. It's like yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd throw
We're
the
gonna be
whole
eating
fucking
that
jar
stuff
away. I'd be shitting my
50
pants.
years from now,
It's
we're not going to be
superfood
eating
now.
cow. We won't be able to afford cow. We'll be eating bugs.
We'll be eating bugs.
And you
That's
know,
it. We're gonna
there's
fight
going to
them.
be those people out there that's like, have you tried a beetle? We use beetles instead of actual pasta, and you can't tell the difference. Like it's the same. And you're like, I'm pretty sure it's a beetle, and they're like, no. If you close your eyes and eat the beetle, it will taste just like pasta.
I've had grasshoppers and stuff. It's fine.
Oh yeah, so I've had like
Beetle
chocolate
Alfredo.
grasshoppers and chocolate ants, but all you're really tasting
I
is
never had those.
I've had like smoked grasshopper with like a little hot pepper on it or something.
So,
it's good.
were you at a place where this is considered a delicacy? Were you just bored and thinking, you know what, would be interesting to try, or like, because my personal rule is like, I'm not gonna say
a friend had
insects
them.
taste gross, but I'm just gonna say like, I don't need to eat them until I'm stranded on a desert island or something. Like,
Always good to try new things,
yeah, but like,
I mean, if there was no longer a food source and we were out scavenging,
absolutely,
like your drive, your hunger drive will force you to eat what the fuck
absolutely.
ever. And if you turn around and you fucking saw Nick Weir, your first thing would be like, "Hey, what's up, buddy?" You'd be like,
You're hungry enough.
Dude.
Dude, I feel like Nick would be the most chill about if you were stranded on an island and then you finally, it came to it and so I, threw him down. I was like, I have to eat you, man. He'd be like, you know what, man, I get it. Like, it's fine. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You're a generous man.
Very generous at times.
So would you like have a conversation with someone first before you murdered them to eat them, or would you give them a chance to fight, or were you just like, hey man, I'm gonna go pee? And
I think the conversation you have is, oh man, look over there.
Yeah,
You hit him in the head with a brick.
I think it all depends on, like, there's a lot of other factors that it depends on. For example, if you're if you're shipwrecked and it's you and your friends or whatever, and there's been no food for days, that's when I know these people. I want to have a conversation. If I'm just by myself, I'm starving, and I have to eat a person, I'd prefer a stranger who I don't know. It's just like, I don't want to know if my cow had a name. I don't want to know if my person.
I want to know.
I don't want to eat anyone I know.
If that person was like, smoking THCP all the time.
Yeah, dude.
So that'd be the person you'd want to eat.
Because then you're like, I'll probably get some kind of high after I eat.
I want someone who ate organic, who ate,
No, well, that's.
kept themselves in shape, but not, didn't do a lot of weightlifting.
But you don't want them to be too in shape where there's not a lot of good
want them
meat.
to be,
like you want
them to be tender.
Honestly, an average person.
You want a little bit of fat flavor.
But okay, so I'm processing like what kind of person would you want to eat? Would you want to go more a fat person because of the flavor?
Out of the three of you, I would eat you first, for sure.
Okay, I was actually thinking. I feel like I'm a good weight proportion for if you had to eat someone because like I'm not like where it'd be all fat, but like there's no muscle.
Okay,
there's no like.
So instead of eating a person, how about you had a conversation with everybody? So then you'd be like, all right, so there's 4 of us here. It's going to be a while before we get saved. We know that someone's going to be here, but it's going to be a month and there's no food. Would you all give up a leg? You know that a leg would last everybody a week. It's going to be a month before the plane comes.
That seems like a diplomatic way of handling it.
So would you all give up a leg, or are we all just killing Drew Davis?
In a group of 4 though, 2 of them are like, let's do a leg, and then the other person are like, let's kill Drew.
I think we
Drew would
can
be
sacrifice.
like, let's kill Drew.
There's prosthetics out there. I don't mind that.
Would you give up a leg? If everybody gave up a leg, would you give up a leg?
Yeah. Instead of eating Drew, like
I
just
honestly
killing
like.
him? Yes.
Yes. Neither would be great, but I would totally drop a limb before, like, because that also like I know you're hungry, but you're still processing eating a person. They're probably screaming while you're doing it, or you have to kill them first. So it's like you have to murder. There's a lot of ground to cover in that terrible situation.
We found some kind of narcotic plant on the island.
You're saying there's 4 people?
There's 4 people.
The 4 of us are stranded on the island.
So a leg is going to have a lot of meat.
Yeah, it's going to last about 4 people about a week.
I don't know if the rest of your body has as much meat as 4 legs. Like
but also
edible meat.
So here's what you do.
So I think
not the ham hock, man.
You can't eat one person because you'll have less meat.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think you have to go 4 legs.
Right.
Here's what you do.
More total
4
meat.
legs.
You wait for the first person to cut off their leg. Because the reality is you're on an island. There's not medical attention. None of us are doctors. We don't know how to keep this person alive. So let them die. Thinking that we all just gonna follow up, and then we eat the person.
Well, there's no refrigeration too.
Yeah. Well,
that's true. If you kill the guy,
there's no. You have to eat them all right then.
You have to salt him.
Or jerk of some sort. Yeah. Where you get the salt from?
I'd jerk you.
I know you jerk me.
I don't know. It might be a preservative. I don't know. It might work. We don't have salt. Let's see what cum does. I don't know.
I would sacrifice myself. That's all right.
See what semen does? That sounds worse though.
But I don't have that much. I feel like I wouldn't last very long.
I'm sorry.
I was trying to be diplomatic.
I feel like my legs.
You're on a clean show this weekend. You're right at Knoxville. I saw.
So are you a clean comedian, or are you?
I've just got enough material.
Patrick's all over the place. He does all kinds of jokes.
I feel like you've done one of my clean shows, maybe more.
I
Maybe
did one
other
of your
people's.
clean shows, and I had this bit where I forgot that sometimes I'll call the person a jackass.
Called a 12-year-old boy in the front row a jackass.
He thought it was funny, but everybody else was very upset.
Instantly lost the entire audience.
Everyone was like, jackass. It's like, it's in the Bible. He's being a jackass. The kid loved it. The kid loved it. He was the no, actually, I was just
he's super
fucking
cool.
around with him, but the parents were like, oh, duh.
I remember that.
Get over it. Also, that crazy lady from SNL was there.
Oh, that was that week.
Who?
Victoria
She's
Jackson.
a wing nut.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never heard of her.
Listen, here's my can I share my
recognize
Victoria Jackson story? Because
Sure.
so here's what
Yes.
happened. I'm one of those people that I don't know nearly enough celebrities and actors and stuff like that. People are like, oh yeah, maybe in that movie. I genuinely don't know things about entertainment. I enjoy it, but so I had never heard of Victoria Jackson before. Never seen her, never heard of her. One of the comedians she was a buddy with, so she came to see the comedian. But she also was wanting to, and so. But then one of the other comedians, he's like nudging, like, do you know who that is? That's Victoria Jackson. And she put at the time. That was the last time I did a
Was she
bucket
on the
list.
bill?
But no, she wasn't. But at the time,
She
to
did
try to
4
get more
minutes.
people there, I tried to do bucket spots. And I had known that I hate bucket spots. But I was like, let me try it again and see if I still hate it. And then turns out I do still hate it. And so, we were supposed to have 2 bucket spots. And the comedian who did recognize her was like, dude, just give her 10 minutes, put her on the show. It's going to be awesome. And I was like, and all I know of this lady is that my friend's over here, like, she's so freaking awesome.
And how long ago was this?
This would have been almost a year ago. This is a while ago.
Oh yeah.
And
Early 90s.
Oh, I know shit.
And so I put her on there, and she did like 4 minutes, and
Maybe.
it was what it was is she had a weird thing happen to her the night before, and she wanted to see if she could tell it on stage.
So she just wanted to work out some material.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I feel like if you're on a showcase, put the material in between. Don't bomb with new material on my show when I've never seen you before.
Yeah.
Like I get it. It's
Okay.
especially when you're someone as a celebrity who's in a bigger demographic than me. But like this is still my show. This is still I still want the audience to be like, oh, that was funny.
I don't think she thought of it in the terms that you're thinking
Yeah.
of it. She doesn't have material. She doesn't do stand-up. So she was just like, I want to talk for 3, it was like 2.5.
Yeah, I
2
told her she had
minutes
10 minutes and
45
she got up
seconds
there
or
for about 4 because she felt the not laughing and it was probably uncomfortable.
Was
and
this a
stuff.
show in town?
Yeah, so it was my
Was she in character
At
when she went up?
Sweetwater Cafe.
Sweetwater
The
Cafe
Sweetwater
in
show.
Lennox Village. It's
Lennox
about a mile
Village.
from where I live, and
Then she did her
it's-
set and sat in the front row for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
With
Oh.
her friend, and they were just like,
Because they did come to see a different one
were-
of the other comedians.
they were
like,
not smart
so-
crowd.
I actually afterwards they
You
joined
were
us
on
for
that show
drinks.
too?
Like they were.
Yeah.
so-
Is that where you called the kid a jackass?
That was. I honestly think that might have been the worst show we've done there. Like that with all that stuff happening. Like I honestly left that night being like, not one of our best.
That was tough.
You have your
like
good
Bates.
shows and your bad shows.
You have your good ones.
They
your
like
bad
Bates a
ones.
lot.
We all have it.
But
Yeah.
imagine being a 12-year-old kid and your parents don't let you hear the word jackass,
Yeah.
It's like
dude.
you're 12 and the internet exists.
You know what's so funny is growing up, we weren't supposed to cuss, but my parents cussed at us all the time. I was cussed out more by my own mom than I was, but of course, you can't. So I feel like kids that are supposed to be shocked by cuss words probably hear it at home way more.
You said
oh,
come
yeah.
already.
I did. I'm breaking the walls
in the
down,
Bible.
man. So it's
Come is in the-
Well,
my favorite
they
passage
talk about
of the
horse
Bible.
ejaculate. So.
Yeah, I like it when the guy's like, the lady's like, he had a penis like a horse, no, a penis like a mule, and ejaculate like a horse. Amen.
Amen.
So
Good book.
I forgot what verse that is, but I do remember the
great
verse
book.
because
Ecclesiastes.
whenever we would have because like at the end of the year, you'd like with seniors, I say this like as if you all have been youth pastors, whatever. But so oftentimes you have to like send write letters of recommendation or letters of encouragement, add the Bible verses to it. For the kids that I knew could care less about God and would never actually open up the Bible, that was the verse I put in for it. Only like 3 or 4 times, but like I was like, they're not gonna read this. They don't care, and it's funny to me.
What is that supposed
hilarious.
to? What's the lesson to be learned from that verse or that chapter or whatever?
We need to read more than just the verse. I don't. We can pull it up and talk about it if you want, but off that verse.
Figured you'd be.
Normally not that kind of show, but we could take it there if you want to, I suppose.
Well, you were a youth pastor. You're not familiar with that passage or what it means?
Not right now. Here's what I don't like that people do is when they take one verse and they turn it into a lot of hate speech because of what that one verse says.
Most of any religious doctrine.
Yeah.
Be,
so,
no matter what religion.
but if you want to be good at your religious doctrine, you learn to read things in their context, in their entirety. So with the Bible, different genres, figuring out what genre that particular book is. Why are we talking about Bible study on a comedy
Because
podcast,
you
guys?
keep talking about cum.
I mean, we can keep talking about cum too. Cum happens.
Both are good things.
Both are good things.
Usually
Cum and
not
the Bible.
together.
Not together, though.
Here's my question: this is how many ounces? 33
Great,
ounces.
good choice.
12-ounce serving size. For the whole bottle, there's 10 milligrams of sodium. For one serving size, there's 0 milligrams of sodium. Now, I'm not a professional mathematician, but that doesn't exactly.
Recreational.
What's going on with that?
I've
That's
been
what I want to
so
know.
high and looking at that so many times going, what?
Have you thought about that too?
Yeah, just like I'm sure it adds
Divided
up
by
in some
3.
quasi way or something
No,
like
no.
I don't know.
That's weird.
that. But it's kind of a jump where it's like 0 to 10. It's like, all right, come on.
Almost makes me forget about horse cum.
Sparkling water that you get, right?
So here's
That's the
it's
name
got-
of the episode. Is
It's
gonna be
got
horse cum,
3
horse
servings
ejaculate.
in it, so it's just like I don't understand. But fuck it.
Fuck it.
Sorry, I brought that up.
If I had to write those things, I would totally write random things that aren't.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Because aside from Patrick, who else reads them?
Just put
I read
lithium
everything.
in there
Anything I
or
can get my
something.
hands
I
on,
don't
I
know.
read. I'm a big reader.
Write some crazy things. Put
I read people, and that's about it.
2,000
You read people?
grams
I do.
of
Do you play
sugar.
poker?
I not. I mean, I have, but not like a ton. But when I do play cards, I usually my reading other people is usually better than my strategy for like what to do with the cards. So
All right.
I always think like, man, I was right about this person, but I was terrible about my decision making.
Interesting.
Do you cheat
That's
at
a-
cards?
If someone's really obvious about like if they're gonna make it where they're holding their hand up where I can see it, then I think it's more on them than on me.
All right, I see.
It's not a tea party; it's a card game. You know?
Right, dude. Keep your
Yeah.
how do you hold your
Yeah,
cards?
no, it's- And whenever
I only played,
I used to sound really obnoxious because people were like they'd get angry and I'd be like, well, who you're really angry at is yourself.
What games are you talking about?
Just like poker,
Bridge?
you know, or like whatever, any card game, any game involving people and someone sitting next to you whose cards can be easily seen. BS, Go Fish, Uno, I guess. You know, that's it.
That's good.
I
Poker.
like to play spades
I
and
would like
poker. Yeah, poker's fun.
Poker's a good one.
What, like Texas Hold'em?
Yeah, just regular, poker. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer regular poker over the Texas one. I don't like to
Yeah.
be dependent on things that everyone else is.
Mm-hmm.
I like to share. And cards.
How about prostitution? Have you ever had a prostitute?
I've never had a prostitute.
I've never had a prostitute.
Neither
Have you ever
have
had
I.
a prostitute?
Once in Amsterdam.
Oh,
What was her
interesting.
name? What was his name? I'm sorry.
It wasn't Thailand.
Got him.
It was Amsterdam. And it was a very weird situation.
Oh.
I kind of want to hear more.
Do you know
Are you
okay.
cool? Tell like.
Do you remember
take
their
the,
name?
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah,
don't remember
the
the
name.
name, but I remember. All right.
Was
so
it a good
ev-
experience? Oh, well, you just you take us there.
No, all right.
Take
Have
us
you guys
there.
ever been to Amsterdam before?
No.
Okay, no. Okay, so like I definitely suggested if you're a young man, there would be 2 reasons why you would go to Amsterdam, which of course was for women and for weed. And now that there's so much better weed in the States now, there's no reason to go to Amsterdam for that. But for the red light district, I mean, so back then, I don't know what it is now for inflation. I'm sure it's probably about $100 now, but back then it was 50 euros, which turns out to be about $65 then. So I'm sure it'd probably be about $100 now. But
For what?
All right, so there was different pricing.
Yeah.
So you can negotiate, right? But for like just straight fucking for whatever, you can either get 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Do whatever you want. Some of them would be like, but also, I felt that like it was like kind of insulted when I'd go to one and kind of ask and everything. She'd say 30 minutes, go to the other, and she kind of looked me up and down and go 20. I'd be like, bitch. So, but anyway,
very unprofessional.
They get to choose how long.
they have. Well, I mean, you negotiate with them. You ask them how much, how long.
Oh, I see.
And so originally I was going when we went there and everything. It was. So don't hate me. Me and my wife, second wife at the time, we were swingers. So our honeymoon, once we got married, we went to Amsterdam. And we were just going to have one big old blowout and everything, seeing all the crazy shit. Are you farting?
No.
That was me.
It's my hand.
I threw my fart.
Oh man.
It's probably my
Impressive.
hand rubbing that.
All right. So anyway, we were going through the red light district together, and we were like seeing different girls and everything. And so I was, asking different rates and stuff, and we kind of went around again. And now, as you're going through, you don't know where exactly coming from, but you hear someone go Coke, and you look around, you don't really say anything. You're like, what the fuck is that? And then all of a sudden you hear Coke. And there's a guy sitting there, and he's like, hey, he's got some fucking cocaine. It's like everywhere you go, there's some guy going Coke. Coke is one of those things and other drugs that they were like frowned upon. Pretty much the weed and mushrooms and stuff like that. I saw San Pedro and peyote there, like in fucking different smart shops and
What's
shit.
San Pedro? I don't know what that is.
It's a cactus. It's about this size. You actually
Like
you,
What does
peyote?
that do?
yes, and it's you can actually find it legally here. I mean, there's some places that you can
Sure.
own it as a plant, but you can't process the processing of it. But anyway, that evening when we decided that we were going to actually find someone, it was kind of hard to find, and so my wife wound up, or ex-wife wound up getting a gram of Coke, and she decided to go up into the hotel room and get fucking her head blasted with Coke. So
Yeah.
I decided just to see what I could find. So I went through, and like all the really hot chicks that I saw earlier in the day were all either busy or not there anymore or whatever. And like everyone who was there was just not really. I wasn't really interested, really what I was looking for. And so I was getting ready to leave, and as I'm walking through the red light district to come out, maybe it's like at the end of the aisle, all of a sudden I get popped in the fucking chest by a riding crop, hard. And I mean, just first reaction was just
Yeah.
to be pissed off. And as soon as the jolt, I hear, "Where are you going, filthy boy?" And I turned around, and there's just a short, hot Italian chick, and she's like, it's just kind of like, I don't know how she did it, but she just kind of like drew me in. Next thing I know, I'm like in her fucking little abode, which is a mix between a doctor's office and a bedroom. It's like the best of both worlds. It's very clinical, but also comfortable. And then the experience. So like she wouldn't let me take my shoes or anything off. Like she took my pants down and then pushed me in the bed. So then now my fucking pants are around my ankles like I'm a rape victim or something like that. And you ever try to fuck with your pants around it doesn't work, especially when you got a belly and big balls, and that shit don't work. You know what I'm saying? So
How big are your balls?
fairly
They're big
big.
balls.
Yeah, fairly big.
They
So,
get in the way.
my baby pictures looks like I'm straddling 2 red maracas. Yeah. So
Was born with big balls.
yeah. So very big. So anyway, she puts on this black condom on me, which makes it look like the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? And so, but it's not enjoyable because the whole time she's just trying to ram it through my body and like through the mattress. It's just like the most painful. And I'm like, I'm paying for this. It's like it is very painful. And then she like gets on and everything. And then first like this is the only thing that came away from it that I really enjoyed is like the way she went down on me, because instead of like being down there and everything, she was like opposite of me, like if we were going to do a 69, but to the side to where I can kind of see everything here and put my arm around her nice fucking ass and everything. And like I enjoy that.
Nice.
I took that away from right. But
That's
I
nice.
do remember there's a point where like I went to go touch her shit and she was like, "Don't touch my pussy." And I was like, okay. Yeah, fine. You don't know where my hand's been. I don't know where the fuck your pussy's been. I mean, for Christ's sake. But anyway, she gets on top. And again, it's aggressive. And like she's got me by the fucking neck. And she's just like, it's like I'm being murdered. And I can't really do much because like my pants are fucking like around my fucking, I got nutcracker going on and shit, man. Just like this, the whole, I'm surprised I fucking was able to maintain a fucking
Does
erection.
she still have the crop? Was she hitting you with that?
No. But
I was gonna. This all started with her hitting you,
oh, the whole thing was
and
violent,
then you're
but
like,
she
oh.
But she was so cute and just like so like ethnically Italian. Like I'm Italian, but like I'm not ethnically Italian. Like you're not ethnically Italian, but she's
My grandma used to tell me that all the time.
Yeah.
I was her little American grandson.
You're not that Olive.
So I was like, okay.
But I don't know, man. It's just like, and then I kind of felt like guilty afterward, and then like we're both kind of. And I was just like, I don't know what's going on. It's like I didn't even do my whole bit. Like 30 minutes. I just like as soon as I had a chance to come, I came. Like I had no interest in enduring anymore. And then.
So do you get to pay half?
No. So here's
okay.
the thing. I didn't realize like that's kind of date night from people, but also in a way to make cash too. So me not going the time, like they don't want to get there and then fuck 10 dudes a night. That's not what they're there. They want to fuck one dude for a couple of hours and have time with them and then make enough money where they don't have to bring in another dude.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really realize that. I'm thinking like it's here in America where you pop and you're done. When I've seen Cat House on HBO. As soon as you blow your nut, they're like, bye, we got your money. Hey, take it. You know, like I did not care about the other 20 minutes at all. But on the other flip side, the culture there, like it was insulting, I guess, that I didn't like go the distance. And then she was like, oh, you know, for good luck, throw some change on the bed. And I was like, all right. So I grabbed all the change that was in my fucking pants and I threw it on the bed. And as I'm throwing it, I realized that change in Europe is not change here. Like you have pennies and some nickels, and change in Europe is like dollars and $5 for euros and €5 increments and €10 increments and shit. It's like I just realized that I probably double paid just by throwing, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, I just double paid for the worst sex I've had in my entire life, and I mean my entire life. I've never felt someone try to murder me before, but just was not strong enough to do it, because that's really what it felt like. It just like it was the female and just it could not kill me, but just gonna try her hard. But fuck me at the same time. I don't know.
And you paid so much that she's probably thinking like, man, he really liked that. I'm good at my job.
Oh no, that's not the vibe. At all.
So don't
You
go to
responded to the
Amsterdam.
riding crop, so she probably thought that you were like, well, I guess I'll keep beating the shit out of this guy. This is what he likes.
Yes.
No, I think it was a tactic. I think that she knows as soon as she bips somebody with that son of a bitch, the shock and the adrenaline in your body just throws you off guard. And like, I don't even know I got from like the middle of the fucking walkways, a cobblestone fucking street, everything is cobblestone there, to being, it literally like she just pulled me in by, I don't know how the fuck it happened. I just like, it was very weird and
Voodoo.
Yeah.
could been. You never know.
What a fun and weird story. Sorry for you, but also fun for us.
Yeah, what a weird story.
It's worth
right?
it for the experience,
Yeah.
especially, you know, I go back to the fucking hotel room and my ex,
She's
she's there
out.
just coked out of her fucking mind. So I decided to do mushrooms. I bought a 1/4 ounce of mushrooms, and I did the whole fucking bag and took a bath, and it's just me and the bath for 3 hours, to the point where like I cleared out the liquor cabinet, and they always tell you not to clear out the liquor bar, the mini bar. They always tell you not to, and don't, because that was $500.
Wow,
Euros.
yeah.
500 euros, which was about fucking almost $600. So I mean, it was just holy shit, man. It's just I'm not.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot
But it
of
was
money.
fun. It was fun. You know, I had to sell my extra car when I got back to the States. But it was fun.
Wow.
It was fun. It was a good trip.
Dude,
Yeah.
We spent so much money and overspent. It was to the point where I was like, well, you know, if we withdrew $500 right now, they won't catch it until Monday when we're already back in the States. I was just like, fuck it. Dude, oh my God, we run amok. I don't know if you've ever run amok anywhere before, but there's few places. Like Opryland when I was a kid, the theme park, and the hotel when we were kids, we would get all dosed up on psychedelics, and we would run amok through Opryland, USA, just all fucking through it. And Amsterdam, if you're ever going to be an adult and run amok through somewhere,
Amsterdam is like adult.
Disneyland.
Yeah,
That's what they say.
adult
But it's
opera.
like, dude, it's like you have the torture museum. And there's other stuff too. Like if you want culture and shit, you know, there's like all the different like Van Gogh museums and the Anne Frank house and all that. But we didn't do any of that. I wasn't interested in doing any of that. I mean, I wanted to, if I was a younger person back when I was more into like World War II type stuff, which I'm not anymore. I wasn't a Nazi, if that's what you're thinking. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's just like, but going there, like, you know, I'm just not interested in seeing, you know, the Anne Frank closet or whatever she was hiding and everything. But we went to like the Torture Museum, and that motherfucker was insane to see. Like they start you walk through this like winding like hallway, like kind of like a dark ride almost, but it's lit up, and then each room has the torture implements through the year, and then one is just a sharp pyramid where they would just sit somebody on top of the sharp pyramid, and they would just kind of slowly split them open over time, and they would just fillet open, and it's just, dude, it's just like some of the things that people would do to another person, or still do today, man. One of the worst things I think I've ever seen is when they would take a fucking tire on somebody and douse it with some kind of like petrol or gasoline or something like that, and set it on fire and just let a motherfucker burn like that. That is just horrendous. It's just some of the things that they do. It's just, but anyway. Where the fuck did I go with that?
That was you were talking about.
Drew was talking about coke.
Yeah, we started with the
Torture
course ejaculate. We turned into a brief Bible study. We got to talking about, we talked a little bit about like a weird comedy show. Then we talked about your prostitute experience in Amsterdam. Then we got to torture, and here we are now.
There you go.
Yeah. There we
The
here we are.
Torture Museum. That's all right.
Yes, you were talking about the Torture Museum. And
Have you guys ever been out of the?
Amsterdam
Have you been out of the
prostitutes.
country?
No.
No. Have you never been to Mexico?
No.
Have you been out of the country? Where have you gone?
I've been to South Africa, a few different places, and I've been to Haiti like 3 or 4 times.
Ooh. So how is Haiti like?
I went to one of the worst parts of Haiti, but I went to the best part of the worst part of Haiti.
Sure.
So like we were like building like a
Missionary.
Yeah, we were building an orphanage. I went and I actually got to be there when they started building it, like the foundation. I would come back for several months like later, and it would be like and I actually ended up getting to work with like some of the kids that they eventually housed in the same orphanage that we built up. But then huge earthquakes happened, and the whole place collapsed, and the mission doesn't exist anymore, and neither
So
do the
fuck
people.
it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
God doesn't want us to build here.
they didn't rebuild. The worst part is like I never heard what happened to like the people that I used to work with or anything like that.
Really?
So
They ate them.
maybe, yeah, maybe.
That's sad.
I
Did you see any type
loved
of voodoo
going.
shit or-
Oh my goodness, I did. I actually I very well may be cursed. If I don't believe in like all like I don't. Well, I believe if
Could
that kind of
explain a
stuff
lot.
exists, if that stuff exists, there's a higher power that I'm on the same side with that exists. That's better. So I'm not threatened by that kind of stuff. However, that being said, the first time I ever went to Haiti, I was about 15 or 16, and they churches give teenagers when they go on mission trip all the worst advice of things you should do. For example, they basically teach you to be a dick in marketing. Because they're like, no, they want you to haggle. They want you to like,
That's also culture.
Yeah, but here's the thing: when you're going there, you're right, it is. However, we were over here, our family's way richer than these people that are selling their stuff, and we're over here like, no, let me like give you less money, which is already super inexpensive in my mind for this. So like we're basically screwing over the people that. Anyway, so they taught us to haggle, and I thought that was just what you do because that was culture. Apparently, I did it too much with this one lady, and apparently she was like some kind of voodoo priestess of that. We were there for like a big
You
like
fucked
festival.
with the wrong person.
I did.
Oh,
She started like yelling and screaming and chanting at me all in Creole. I had no idea. The missionary came over, he pulled me out, and then he got in the truck and drove back to the place. And he straight up was like, I was like, so what was she saying? And she was like, well, first he was like, that like God and the Holy Spirit are more powerful than anything else, right? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well. And then he was like, well, turns out she is a Buddhist priestess, and she was dropping you a curse. So I don't know if this is actually this is what he told me she said.
Sure.
So good, but ever since then, I've always thought like, yeah, maybe I'm cursed. And see, here's the thing: in so many different ways in my life, it would make so much sense if I was cursed.
Yeah.
Like it would make so much sense if it turns out it was a Haitian curse. But
Surprised I've never heard you make a joke about
Your buddy
that.
is such a dick.
I've thought about it. I've thought like it's cooking. It's in the back there.
Okay.
But so we were there that week. The same week there was like some kind of like big voodoo parade and festival because they gave us specific instructions like not go outside at certain times. So of course we went outside at certain times and we got to see the parade and stuff like that, which was kind of cool.
Not want you to see the parade.
Yeah, they were like it would scare you. Because I mean, like there's some super sketchy like sacrificing and crazy stuff that goes on with voodoo stuff. Like
Really?
The only thing I've ever seen that like I can't explain other than like, ooh, there might be something to this, is I did see someone like walk in the middle of like a bunch of fires and just like hang out there and like continue to lead their sermon or whatever. So
Weird.
yeah. So anyway, that's my voodoo story. And I might be
pretty
cursed.
rare.
What the fuck? You might be cursed, dude. Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, the shows aren't cursed. I know that. It's
I
not
hope
that.
not. Like, oh, that explains it.
So I don't think you're that cursed.
Trying not to be. I honestly, like, I don't know if I'm a big believer of like self-fulfilling prophecy, or like honestly like the whole like, people that are like, I'm spreading positivity in the world and they think it's their aura or their chakra. I don't know about that, but I do think having a positive mindset makes a big difference. So I think some people will like say that they're cursed or all that stuff, and then they're bringing it on to themselves.
Very true.
They say that a lot of times it's the belief system. So like if your buddy had been like, oh, she didn't say anything, don't worry about it, you would have never known any better, and it would have never been a thing. But the fact that he was like, oh, well, she cursed you and your dick's going to rot off in 10 years or some shit like that. Now you've got that in your fucking head. So that always kind of winds up. And I think that's how, like, a lot of times, like, religion and stuff, they get you because they kind of, like, draw you in with some type of mysticism and then do something or say something that's going to scare you. And that plants that seed in your head, and then 10 years later you're in confession at a Catholic fucking church or some bullshit, and it's just I just never got it. I'm just like, it's nice for like to watch them in a horror movie or something like that, but I mean, as far as like, I've never seen anything that would make me believe that there was like Santa Claus or anything, man. I don't know. I mean, I've never been a religious dude. I mean, I remember being 7 years old and just being like, I've always had people who, we've had friends of my stepfather and my mother that were like preachers and shit like that, especially in Colombia, we would go not just to be at church that Sunday, but because, you know, we knew the preacher, you know, and so it was just, but I never felt like the Holy Spirit. I never, you know, I was into Greek mythology and Egyptian mythology, and then, like, you know, the stories of the Bible just seemed so much sillier than that of, like, I mean, it all is silly to the point because it's the world as they knew it back then. But I mean, to a kid in 1979, and you're gonna fucking, you know, tell me, well, like, this is real, but yet all this other stuff is fake. And then at this time, you know, I'm already into aliens and all kinds of other shit at that point. I mean, it was just very hard to, I felt like backpedal and believe something that just I could not agree with. And at a very young age. And, like, I've wrestled with it, you know, growing up. I've read the Bible several times, you know, growing up. Especially the last time I read it, was with my first wife when she converted during not converted, she got born again during our relationship. And so I had to deal with that shit all over again. And then, like, her mother also was born again, so they're always coming at me with shit. So, like, all right, fuck it. So I'm gonna arm myself. I'm reading the fucking Bible again so I can fucking battle this bitch when I get off work, even though I don't fucking want to, and I just want to eat and take a shower and watch fucking TV. But no, I'm gonna have to go home and fucking talk about Jesus for 2 fucking hours. There was one time, man, I fucking had to work 4 hours overtime, and I got home at 10 o'clock at night, and I came home. Everybody was in bed. My food had been sitting out my dinner had been sitting out on the table. They didn't even put it in the refrigerator, just sitting there. Well, yeah, just for like 4 hours. It was just insane. So I come home. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't heat it up or anything. I took the aluminum foil off. I started eating it, and then knock on the fucking door. And I was like, who the fuck is this at fucking 10 o'clock at night? So I go ahead and open the fucking door, and it was the fucking reverend of the fucking church, Park Avenue Church over in fucking West Nashville, and his crony. And they come in to 10 o'clock at night. I haven't even eaten my fucking dinner yet. I just got off work, and they were obviously told what time I was going to be home that fucking... Sat down the whole time, and, like, I'm trying to hold it together. And I'm not giving a shit that they're fucking sitting there and I'm eating. And I'm just like, oh my God, just let it stop. And then, like, they're wanting to be interactive with me and shit. And then I lost my shit. I got loud. I was like, get the fuck out. Dude, I lost my shit. And I was like, I don't lose my shit often. And, like, I knew these people. Like, I'm there on Sunday. I'm not, like, conversing with them, but I'm watching them. I'm seeing them. I know who they are. And I lost my shit. Like, I just could not do it. It was insane.
That's intense. That's very surprising. So you were doing Bible studies with, like, the pastor and his, like...
No, I wasn't doing Bible studies. They showed up. They just showed up.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently I was being drawn away from the church or some bullshit like that. Dude, I'm showing up on a Sunday. You know, and you want me to come and fucking, you know, baptize the kid and everything? Yeah.
I would bet you my firstborn child that your first wife, your ex-wife, like, connected with him and said, like, hey, he gets off work at 10.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because there's no way the pastor at 10 p.m. is like, you know what I want to do? Leave right now and go do it.
No, it was all said because, like, they were already in bed when I got home. And it was one of those moments, like it
was like an intervention almost kind of.
Yes. Yeah, it's like when that's what I'm saying. When I got home and everybody was asleep and everything, it was one of those things like, oh, thank God, everybody is asleep. I can, like, eat and fucking just chill out for a moment. I don't have to fuck with anybody. I can sneak into the bed. So it's like literally as soon as I get, like, that first bite of food in there, it's the knock at the door.
Dude, that's like a movie, and then you gotta deal with that.
So I don't know.
It's the start of one of those Christian movies on Pureflix. That's how he gets converts. Yeah.
No, this was Baptist. I was brought up Roman Catholic.
Okay.
So that's devout Catholicism. Like, my great-grandmother always wore black. She was from the old country.
But you're Italian Roman Catholic. I was brought up Roman Catholic also, but...
Yeah, so, like, in New York...
like more Italian.
I don't know what the difference, because I never really retained it.
old-fashioned stuff like women in black dresses, like old ladies in black dresses.
So
or anything like that.
my grandmother was from Italy, so like she didn't speak very much English at
Yeah,
all.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but it was just like it didn't stick with her kid, and then with my mother after that, you know, it's like it just. I don't remember anybody going to church, other than to like a wedding or some shit like that, or someone's baptism or something like that. But with getting married with my first wife, and then she became born again and got really into the church. Like, I'm all cool with playing along and everything, but like, don't like force me to do shit, because at that point there's going to be like, you're not going to be able to, if someone's not religious, you're not going to turn them all of a sudden religious, just like the other way around. If someone's religious, you're not going to be able to make them unreligious. If someone is believing something up to a certain age, which they call the hypnotic period, they're going to believe that through the rest of their life. So if whatever doesn't stick, they say about 7, you know, whatever up until 7 years old is what they say the hypnotic period is. So whatever that you learn up to that point that you're being told, even though it may be BS or not, and it doesn't matter, I'm not picking on any particular religion, just saying if you're told whatever bullshit, you know, then you're going to believe that. Hell, I grew up believing that my mom met Jim Morrison and Sid Barrett and all this other lie bullshit, and I believed that shit for a while. Then you ask the bitch about it, she's like, what were you talking about? Bitch, you said it in front of me and my friends! Anyway.
They say that's when you develop your accent as well. And I wonder if it's, you know, that's the period where you're very impressionable and a lot of stuff like that happens.
That may be because
people learn how to be racist and stuff also, things that aren't religious.
Sure.
You're taught that.
All sorts of
You're
things.
taught
that
that. Oh my
learned
God.
My parents said this is true. That's how everything is. Like, my parents said this is true. They must be smart. But then you get to be older and you're like, my parents are not that smart, you know? Everything they said, I need to reflect back on with a grain of salt, because they're fucking, they didn't do good in school. You know, they don't have great IQs, you know?
What
My parents are
age-
very smart.
What age did you realize that your parents were schmucks?
My parents are very smart and nice.
Sure. But what
My
age?
dad's kind of a dick.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. What age did you realize that your dad was a dick?
He's like judgmental about like things. He needs to be, you know, cool or something, like normal,
narcissist.
normal kind of.
Sure.
A little narcissist, but he's just kind of, I don't know. Like I was telling him a story, but he can't listen to anything, I guess. I don't know. Fucking whatever. I was telling him a story about like being out in the middle of the desert, and a cougar, a big mountain lion, walked 50 yards away from me, walked straight up the mountain. And it was like I was playing a guitar on a little cliff kind of thing. Not a big cliff. I mean, you know, it knew I was there, and it just walked past me. And I was trying to tell my dad about this, and I got finished with the story, and immediately when the story is over, he's like, okay, let me tell you what I was waiting to say. I was waiting to say something else. I heard a thing about a cat or something. It was like, you listen to what I'm saying. It's just an immature guy. I don't know. Whatever. He's not a terrible guy or anything. He's an immature guy and kind of a dick. I think his priorities are not, you know, he worked more than he needed to, and I don't know, you know, whatever.
That happens. So I realize that people who do that, especially dudes who do that, they're avoiding going home. Because I would work with guys all the time, and they would be putting in like mass overtime. It's like, dude, don't you have a personal life and shit? Don't you have something to do? It's like, dude, all I want to do is go home and get bitched out by the wife. I'm like, that's fair. I guess here you're making money. And just
He would go to the office at he would be in at like 5 a.m, so he would be home early. So he wouldn't be home like late, like 5 or 6, you know. So I guess that's not the exact situation for me, but
yeah.
I know a lot of people that are like that, where the dad was just like avoiding coming home.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? My dad's not gonna listen to this. But
That's fair.
whatever.
If you are listening to this, stop being a dick and listen to your son's stories, Mr. Devine.
My
I don't know why
dad
that
worked
story
like
popped in my
a
brain.
night shift for a few years, so I didn't really see him a lot during the week. That was like pretty common. Like I'd see him like briefly in the morning, briefly in the evening.
You ever see your parents do anything fucked up? Not fucking, but like.
My parents are very
Oh,
kind,
yeah.
by the way, but just like my dad's kind of a dick.
Right. Of course. I mean, my dad
Is he a
was kind of a
goody
dick
two-shoes
sometimes,
type of
dude.
dick?
No.
You know.
No,
Does he drink?
he does drink
All right.
too much.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's bad.
Yeah, that's when he's the most dick.
Yeah. That
Always.
is. Drew, your parents are like straight edge.
Fuck no.
No?
My dad eventually left my mom because he had 3 other women and he was stealing money from the company he was working for, and he's never gotten caught. Like he's a financial accountant, like for hospitals, and so he stole tons of money but knew how to do it legally, and then divorced my mom
So embezzling.
and left. Oh yeah. He was so good at it where they were able to see where the money was gone but not find the paper trail, so he got away with it, and he's still out to this day doing it. Since I was 10, I was like my mom's therapist for having to deal with all that stuff, which is why I'm really good at like listening to people and working with people, because she put all of that on me because my other 2 siblings are terrible too. So yeah, I don't have a dad anymore. Like he's not.
Yeah.
I gave him like one shot in my early 20s to kind of try again, and he did not do well with that. And so no, my family is the most messed up thing about me. So.
Yeah.
When did you come into religion?
It was in middle school. My brother at the time, actually, he was going to church with a buddy, and so the buddy invited our whole family to like Easter service. My mom was like, "Oh, cool, family thing, let's do it together." And so that was the first time I'd ever gone to church, and I thought the whole thing was weird. The whole
What age
service.
did you say it was?
8th grade.
8th grade.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought the whole thing was weird, especially because church services, if you're listening to this and if you work at a church, this is good information for you. Really need to be careful on how they describe communion to people.
Oh.
Right? So like in 8th grade, they're hearing like, we're about to eat Jesus' body and blood. I'm like, I'm fine,
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
so
yeah, that
like,
does sound
so like the
weird.
whole thing was a little weird to me, but up till that point in my life, I got like no attention at home because of all the situations going on, and I have one of my older sister has special needs, so that took up a lot of that. I was like constantly bullied and pushed around and left alone in school and stuff like that. So this is the first time a group of like teenagers came up to me afterwards. I'm like, hey, what's your name? So they started talking to me, and they're like, and I had no intention of going back to the church until they invited me back, and then I had every intention. At that point, I was
You
like,
felt welcome.
yeah. So I went back and I made friends in the community, and there were people there that they saw kind of the home life I had, and they really poured into me, knowing that like I needed more than what I was getting. And so the church was a really transformational and important period for me. And I was listening to your interpretation of the Bible and Christianity, I was like, he's had so many fucked up Christians in his life, and I was like. Who are not doing it justice. And so I got a completely different take from the people who've been in my life. But it started with them really accepting me when stuff in my family wasn't.
Well, that's where it starts a lot of times. It's people find like Scientology and stuff like that. You know, it's just someone welcoming them in.
Yeah.
It's just-
And a lot of people become pastors because of similar experiences. But here's the thing, there's something. Oh, we were talking about how that hypnotic period when you're taught to think in a certain way, and that at that certain time that's just going to be. But I mean, just like with free will is a thing. Like just like people shouldn't be forcing religious on. We are given free will.
Yeah.
And free will also allows us to, once we get old enough to realize that our parents were kind of not sure of everything, didn't have all the answers, weren't giving us the best advice. We do have the power to be different. Like that's what a lot of people, working with a lot of teenagers in like, traumatic situations and with a lot of broken homes, like one of the most important jobs I had to do was teach the high schoolers, like, yes, that was your past, but you can choose not to let it define you. You can make better decisions. You can be better. But a lot of people, they let all this stuff happen or let the way they were taught frame who they are, and then they never choose to be better about it. So like I do think there is that most formative period of time, which is, your first 7 years or whatever, even up until your teenage years. But like at some point you can take an honest look at the problems and be like, I can do better than that.
Yeah. I think that's fair, man.
Do you like the ritual of the church? There's so much of it is ritual. And
True.
a lot of,
In all the denominations and everything.
compared to like what you're like the good things about the Bible are like do unto others as you would have them do unto you, which seems like, and like a rich person will have less chance of getting through the eye of camel shit or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a needle than a camel, but that stuff doesn't get talked about. Like that's not like the stuff that's like everything that's preached is like Jesus is Lord, Jesus saves, stuff like that, and then the ritual is like a distraction almost that's caters like we think we have to cater to God's ego or something.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this thing where we're all pretending to drink your blood and eat your body, and that's not from the Bible or anything. It's just like, why would he need that?
Yeah, well, again, I think it comes down to the people teaching the rituals, the people teaching the traditions, the way they do it, because there's a lot of bad ways to teach people about communion or to teach people about the importance of worship or that. But I also think, there are much better ways of doing it in a way that, because the most important thing with any kind of ritual or tradition is that the doing it doesn't outweigh the why you're doing it. So the why and what you're doing is the most important than the actual thing that you. But a lot of times in churches or any kind of culture, honestly, it's more important to do, do the thing just because that's how we've always done it, or that's what we need to do. And a lot of times that gets pushed in any kind of church or religious community. But let's be honest, a lot of times that gets pushed in anything. Look, comedy is always an ever-changing what connects with our audiences, what connects with the people online. But if we keep doing comedy the same way that we've been doing it for 100 years or whatever, like no one 10 years ago, 10, 20, 30 years ago would have been like, I need to work on my social media presence. But now, if you want to get somewhere with comedy, it doesn't have to be your whole thing, but it is stupid to be like, I'm just not going to care about social media.
Especially now.
Yeah, it's because, and that's a hard one for me because I don't care about social media. But I realize if I want to get somewhere with this career, I need to, everyone has crappy parts of their job, like that. So, so.
I didn't give a shit about it until this January, and I actually started looking at the analytics, starting to really kind of look to see what I could push to. Dude, it's like I've been able to push the channel, but it's been like a 40-hour job. It's been an additional job. It's like I'm working
editing and
2 jobs. So if you've got a spoon fed, so I have one episode and then it may have gotten 100 views, but I've shaved off 60 seconds at a time and put them on the clip. And so that one episode now has gotten so many more views just because I spoon fed that. And if they would have just watched the fucking episode, right? But they got reports now where the 20-somethings now, it hurts their head in order to watch something longer than a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
They're so trained. So what we have to do is, all right, so we all grew up, I don't know about you, how old are you, 30?
30. Yeah.
We all grew up with the aspect ratio of this right here. And especially, I remember when it was just this, and then just movies were like this, would you have the widescreen, and then eventually the technology caught up to the point where we had our home entertainment as in widescreen. But the new youth aren't interested in the entertainment centers or anything like that because now their entertainment is in their hand. So that widescreen angle is now at a 90-degree angle. And so now this is how everybody... Is that your...
That's the back of the phone.
Naked pictures.
No, it's literally a picture of her and a Pokemon in front of it.
But what is she's molesting the Pokemon?
Go. It's a Slowpoke.
But anyway,
Nice.
so now you have to take your widescreen image. I'm shooting this today. So tomorrow I'm going to edit this down to where I'm literally cutting the widescreen in half to where it's just you and Patrick, and then I'm going to recut Nick and I into it, so we're just in a corner of it. It pretty much looks like we're going down on you, pretty much the way the aspect, and then put our logo in it. And so I'm literally spoon feeding our episodes, and I just don't get it. Why don't you just watch the episode, enjoy it, chill out, and relax? but they're flipping through, and then like some of the views, like some people are just kicking off as soon as they're just. And I watch people do it too when they're on their phone, and they're just not even watching it. They're not even giving it. It's a 60-second video. Give it a second, right? I mean, for fuck's sake, figure out some context of it.
Yeah.
Are you upset?
No. You know what I do love is like y'all see the pissed off granny.
I haven't seen the pissed off
I've
granny.
not seen this.
So her son goes before her, so if he's going to take her he's got to take her everywhere. So he's going to take her to the thrift store. So he'll go to the thrift store like ahead of time and put her face on like different like portraits that might be for sale and stuff like that. Or he'll go to like a Walmart or something like that, or have someone ahead of time put things with her face on it, and then she'll see it and flip out and everything, and then she's just like this redneck grandma. It's semi-staged for the most part, but I mean, it's so funny just for her to be in the middle of nowhere, or in the middle of a public place, just being just the most horrible shit going out of her fucking mouth and shit, man. It's just.
It sounds like my mom trying to order out one of those McDonald's self scans now. She's it's weird having aging parents, man. Like I was trying to help her install a printer earlier this week, and that was like trying to give her the keys to a spaceship. It was not.
I had to do that before too. It can be tough. Yeah,
it's something.
It was over the phone.
No, I actually went in person, but she did try to do the in person or the on the phone stuff.
On the phone is tough.
But here's the thing: on the phone, they could do a little bit better. Years ago, when I was helping her, maybe it was like installing the internet or whatever, and it wasn't working right. And so when I called them, at some point they're like, okay, so you're gonna need to go buy a router, you're gonna need to go plug it in, you're gonna need to go press these things, then call us up and let us know, and then we'll do it. And I was like, at one point, are you paying me for orientation? Like at this point, I work for you. Like this is like, but that's just the way it is. I'm just like.
I think the reality is that she just wants you to come over.
Maybe.
Probably. She just wants to spend time with
I
you.
hate you, Mom. Hook up your own fucking internet.
No, I do. It's an interesting dynamic because out of my family members, my mom is the one, like probably the only one that I have a real relationship with. But there's so much trauma to unpack with the fact that like I was her therapist when I was 10 years old. So and it's so terrible, but it's just, no one's perfect. I'm working on it. But like when she starts like telling me about her problems, my gut reaction is like, no, she didn't. Right. But I mean, does that make it okay to open up to a 10-year-old about your marriage?
Because my mother did the same thing to me. Yeah. Told me some shit that people should not hear.
But so now I have to, as now as a 37-year-old person, stop holding those things against her when she's an aging person who has completely different problems.
Yeah, you should have that packed up by now.
You'd think so.
So, man, I avoided going through therapy and shit like that, and there was a point where I was being made to go to therapy in order to continue continue getting Xanax in order to help with my anxiety. Because they were like, this is just for temporary. If you're going to continue to use it and everything, then you need to go to therapy. And I had everything packed up. Like I just needed to help with surface level shit, my job and everything. We didn't need to go back till like I was 7 years old and blah blah blah. And they just unpacked everything that you spent like a lifetime packing up, and then leave you hanging. It's like, well, you're gonna help me fold all this now? We threw it all around the world, and like the very first thing, they go through the exercise on how to do it, where you go through the visualization. All right, well, you're on the woods, and then there's a walkway, and then you go through there's a doorway in the walkway, and you go through that, and then there's a chest there, and then in the chest, you open it up and everything, and you take the problem and you put it in there. And they walk you through this crazy shit, but like. You go to a therapist and you're supposed to be here for an hour, and they only give you 45 minutes. You're just warming up by the time like it's time for you to go. It's just like, bitch, I'm about to have a nervous fucking breakdown. It's time to leave.
And she's like, see you next week.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like there's no time to even like contemplate and just like, I mean, I don't know, man. Just like I did it for so long to the point where like I needed to do something else, and then I wound up doing MDMA for the first time. And MDMA did what no therapy or psychiatry could have done. I mean, went through 10 years plus of psychiatry, 5 years of therapy, and only made things worse. And then I did MDMA once, and it didn't even take the time for the ice in my drink to melt before I had. They lie to you. They say that there's no magic bullet. It's a lie. It's a lie. You want to get your shit sorted out and just you want to be able to breathe for 2 hours and just feel. Dude, it made my anxiety like follow. Like it felt like I was having like the anxiety was like a suit of armor, like glass. Like I felt it shatter and fall away, and I just felt like this overcoming just peace, this inner peace that I hadn't felt in fucking years. And it was just like I just sat back and just cried out of just joy. Just it was just amazing, man. It was just one of those things that through everything that I fucking had to go through, and it was just this. The thing about it now is that with fentanyl and everything, I'm scared to do MDMA now because it's in everything. I mean, it's in everything.
People overdose all the time from it. It's super common.
No, it's ridiculous.
You can get test strips that work.
You can, but I don't think you can get them here in Tennessee. But I don't know.
Where'd you get that THCP? Is that legal in some states?
It's legal in every state because it's not Delta 9. So you can get it anywhere.
Where did you get it? Like a weed shop in
right
town?
up the road, yeah.
Nice.
If you want to try it, man.
Not tonight.
Okay.
But another time,
so
Patrick
like,
will give it a
just
shot.
go to any place will have
At
it.
some point, I'm sure I will.
Any place to have it, but I wouldn't go to like a gas station. I would go to some place that actually sells like flour or something.
Makes sense.
But yeah, man, dude, it's so much fucking better with just 2 hits than 30.
Yeah. Find MDMA, smoke THCP.
When CBD weed first came out, John Hickok got like one of his fans sent him like some good CBD weed, and we were like, I guess we'll see what this does. And I took a rip, and like I waited a little bit like you, and I was like, this is doing nothing. And I took like 20 hits, and I got mad. It made me angry.
Really?
I'm not on the mic. I'm sorry.
And no other, so you didn't throw up or anything?
No, it was
Did
just
it
like,
kick in, or was it just ended
it's
up being
CBD, so it doesn't
shit
kick
weed.
in.
Well, if you smoke regularly or at all, then if you do CBD, then it's not going to do anything. Like the only way that CBD is really going to work is if you are like a granny who's never smoked in her life, and like that's how it works with you. But if you're like you smoke regular, then you're just wasting your time with CBD.
Yeah, it was very
So
frustrating.
true.
I remember being frustrated.
I know, now they're so much better. All that
You know what's being
stuff.
frustrated is buying a zip from one of your local comedian friends and they sell you CBD weed and you're like, man,
Oh, boy.
really?
Is this you? Were you the local comedian?
No,
right
it was
now?
not me. I did not do it.
No.
I was like, it's like that felt very pointed. Just want to make sure it wasn't you. Me and Patrick would have beaten you up right
It's
here.
actually happened twice, 2 separate comedians, so, I'm
I'm gonna
not
grab a drink from the
any
cooler.
particular person.
I know they're not cold.
I think I've bought THCA weed from a dude.
So I know.
You can tell the difference.
So when you smoke THCA,
The taste is different.
right? But the smell is also different too.
Smell is
it smells
different,
more
the taste.
industrial. It doesn't smell floral.
Yeah,
What-
it smells almost chemical.
Yeah.
THCA is, I find it to be oftentimes just smelling it in the bag, like overwhelmingly citrusy and fruity.
I
But
get
smoking it, it's like that citrusy, especially the ones that are citrusy, that'll carry over in a bitter way. And like new weed, like in California these days, like it smells like incredibly, some strains smell like incredibly citrusy and floral and fruity. But when you smoke it, it just tastes like, good weed. But the THCA stuff, it'll have the same smell as that, and it will, like a bitter type of citrusy will come through in the smoke, and it's unpleasant. It's less pleasant.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
find.
see what you mean.
There are some, because I've smoked a couple different THCAs. The ones that are not citrusy don't seem to have that, but they don't taste as good as weed.
No, it's not. It's not floral. It doesn't taste natural. Nick and I had a smorgasbord of THCA where we had like all different flavors, all different
that's
types.
true.
And the thing that I found about THCA through that I can tell when I'm smoking THCA is I'll get a headache right here on the left back lobe. Do you get a headache back there when you smoke THCA? No. Like I'll get a headache right there. It's like I can tell it, and it's just also THCA has a shorter duration than regular Delta 9.
Well, when you heat it up,
So that's the thing.
carboxylates,
Right,
and
and
becomes
converts to Delta 9, but
regular.
it's also right, but it also is shorter lived for some reason. Where like I'll find like the high from THCA is about 20 to 30 minutes, where the high from regular would be probably about 30, 45 to an hour.
I wonder what goes on, because it's like harvested sooner and grown at a lower temperature, from what I understand.
Well,
Okay.
from what I
I
understand
know
is that they pretty much package it before it has a chance to break down, because in breaking down is when it starts to become the Delta 9 and also being heated.
So they don't cure it?
I'm not exactly sure what the process is in it, because basically they said that they can't contain more, and they're like, as long as it's not kept. So essentially you have to keep your weed in a humidor and keep it from breaking down and drying out, because once it starts to dry out, that's when it starts to convert over. So when they test it and everything, from what I understand, I mean, I'm not,
Yeah, I don't really know anything about it.
but again,
Potologist or herbologist.
Patologist.
but the THCP, I don't know what the fuck that is, but man, it's like, that's different level shit where they're really
with
making
that.
like this like crack cocaine of the weed, man.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
The weed is definitely stronger in a whole different kind of ways. Like a lot of
it's-
people can't handle edibles. I hear those nightmare stories.
That's what
all
I
the
would
time.
compare it to, even though edibles don't work on me. But that's what I hear people say about edibles is what they're like, well, only eat a corner of this brownie and you eat the whole fucking brownie. And they're like, oh, you fucked up now. And like what people, it's like, it lasted like, it was almost like a hallucinogenic where like you would peak after 2 hours, because at 30 minutes I was so high that I couldn't stand it. And at an hour, I'm like, how is this like more? And then like another hour after that, it's like, how am I possibly more high than I was an hour ago? And it was just one of those things like, it was just one of those things that I've never experienced that from weed. And
When did you get it?
It was Friday.
So you've taken since then,
I didn't
Saturday you didn't do it.
Did anything over the weekend.
Sunday you didn't, but
Nothing.
Monday you took
Nothing.
2 hits?
No, today.
Today you took 2 hits.
Today I did 2 hits.
How long was the
Again,
intensity lower but the same time
the
frame?
same time frame, because I was even testing it. So like when at 12 o'clock I took a hit, and then when I had to start leaving again, about 45 minutes after that, I wasn't feeling anything again. I took like a super draw and just held it in, and then from then I went to again, had to be to where I had to be. And then getting out of my car, I kind of felt kind of weird, but I didn't feel high. And then about 5 minutes later, I was super fucking high. And then again, 30 minutes later, I'm really fucking high. But again, it's like I wasn't hotboxing it the whole fucking time, so it wasn't the intensity. Because I mean, I was hitting it like it was like a regular vape, and like I had no idea like the effect of it. But again, that 2 puffs that I did, or 2 tokes that I did, again lasted about 5.5 hours. So it was just like, when I got home, setting up everything in here, I was still high. It's such an insane thing. Like I hope it's not like some kind of like bathtub drug. I hope it is some type of like plant-based thing, but you never know. The high of it felt like it, but the weird thing is like when I just really super dosed on it, it really super dosed me. And that's the because like weed normally has like a cutoff. Like you can only get so high on weed. And this was just like, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. You know, just
Well, you also, it might, I don't know how it works chemically, but maybe you don't have a tolerance to THCP. So
That's a
you
good
have
point.
a tolerance to weed, but then you smoke this thing that's
Or
a slightly
THCA.
different, the molecule's a different shape, you know? And you don't have a tolerance for that, however that interacts with your body's chemistry.
yeah.
So maybe that's what happens.
It
Maybe you
could
smoke
be.
this
Could be
every day
that.
and stop smoking weed, you'll get used to this, maybe.
Oh no, there's no way. You can't do this recreationally. I mean, just like to the point like when I got home today, and it was like, should I go to sleep or do the podcast? Because I really want to go to sleep.
I wish that pot didn't have that. You know, you can only get a certain amount of high, but sometimes I just want to like make my brain real fuzzy.
Then you'll
I don't know.
enjoy THCP.
Yeah. You
'Cause
can only take
sometimes-
5 bong rips is just the same as 2 bong rips, really.
Right.
Yeah, depending on the weed. But like, so like this is perfect for like you're gonna go into like a movie theater. Like,
Oh,
so before you
yeah.
go, like you don't like a lot of people they try to sneak their vapes in. You don't have to do this, man. Like before you go in, just take 2 strong tokes of it. Keep your vape in the car. Go in. See a double feature. Fuck it. You've got 5 hours to burn with this, man. Fucking sneak into another fucking. Unless you go into Hollywood 27, they monitor that shit like a motherfucker. But yeah, man. I mean, you know, drugs are fun. I think is what I'm. Don't do drugs. That's right. Don't do drugs.
This podcast is brought to you by THP.
It is, but THCP.
Yep.
And it's
Me,
legal.
you, and me. I don't know. Fucking. To me, I think it depends on like with edibles and with like vapes. It's all like milligrams and stuff, you know. Whereas like with regular weed, you don't ever, think of it in that way. You know, you're just smoking bowls and
If you're
joints
somewhere where
and-
you buy your weed from a dispensary where they'll have it on there, then you'll be more conscious of it. But
I
if
smoke live Optimos.
What is that?
Money, hose, clothes, that's all I know. Optimo is a type of cigar, so you roll it.
I see.
Make a blunt out of it.
Biggie Smalls.
blunts are such a waste of money. It's just
Really?
like, you might as well just roll it up in $100 bill because that's like a blunt. You're burning a quarter ounce, right? No.
I mean, no. Some people roll them like
I wouldn't put
usually
that much in it,
grams
no.
or something.
Oh, you guys do the skinny blunts.
I
You
mean,
guys do those
Yeah.
pathetic blunts that they're just all.
If you
kinda
put a quarter
spit.
in, that's like a Thai stick. Have you ever smoked a Thai stick?
I've seen Thai sticks. I've never smoked a Thai stick.
Yeah,
I've seen
that's just
Quaaludes
like-
too, but I've never done
It's
a
just
Quaalude.
a bunch of weed flower grows like buds kind of deal. And
Yeah.
Thai stick is like
tight up
there's
to
a
the stick.
rolled up tight, and then they put a hole in the middle through it, so you kind of smoke it like it's a big cigar, but it's
I was
just
saying it
made
sounds
out
like a
of
weed
weed.
cigar.
Yeah, there's
Well,
no wrapper or anything.
There's also there was the apparatus back in the day, and there's a movie, Cheech and Chong's
Yeah.
second movie.
That's where I first heard of Thai sticks.
All right, so there's it's like a burner gun, a heat gun, and you literally put the Thai stick in the gun, and it literally fires it up, and you just toke on, just like a modern day vape.
Yeah.
But it for real, like lit it up. It was combusted. Yeah, but it looked rad.
They sell them. They
They
sell Thai sticks. You can buy them at like fancy weed shops in California and stuff.
Yeah, but
Oh, all
They'll be
right.
like coated with keef or something probably, but
That's nice.
Can't wait for the next random conversation I'm in when I can use something of substance from what you guys said, and I'm going to sound like I know so much more about weed than I do.
Weed or not about
Yeah, I
hookers
can't wait. Like,
or anything.
or maybe next time someone brings up Amsterdam, I'll be like, let me tell you the 2 things you go to Amsterdam for.
let's do
Hookers
this.
and-
Can you pray to Jesus and ask Jesus if you could have the day off to where you and Nick and I could like hang out. We can bring some of Patrick and go out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Patrick can go.
Yeah, and then we're just gonna get completely choked out.
Yeah, so
out.
it has nothing to do with my religion why I don't get like high or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm just not, okay, here's what it is.
Sure.
I overdosed on Flintstone vitamins when I was in 5th grade.
Oh, very serious.
And that has shaped everything else.
Oh, wait. It wasn't because you were hungry, though, right?
No, it was. I just like the orange ones. Yeah, I liked the orange ones. And then it ended with me having to get my stomach pumped. I thought it was the best one. I thought my order would have been like orange, grape, and red.
Yeah.
But they had like I guess I increased the acid going on in the insides. And I was basically pooping out blood constantly.
Was it pancreatitis?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. But they had to pump my stomach. It turns out it was because of
gummies.
Yep. And so now I don't take vitamins either. But I feel like I'm good on
How
those.
old are you?
How old am I now?
Yeah.
37.
This would have been before gummies, probably.
Yeah.
So
It was.
probably those chalky.
They were the chewable Flintstone chewable. Yeah, I guess they weren't called gummies.
Those.
But
I ate those when I was a kid.
yeah, so
You're 30?
So ever since then, I've just never been inclined to take stuff that could potentially mess with me. And then, as like we were talking about before the podcast, I have an irrational fear of things messing with my head and messing with how I think and sense and stuff like that. So, so I've never been like a get high or get buzzed or get
What about
whatever.
wine?
So I don't like the taste of wine. The longer we have this conversation, the more you'll realize I'm the boringest person on earth. I'm chill with whatever anyone else wants to do, but then like for myself, it's like I don't drink beer either. Not because I'm anti-beer, but I think it tastes gross. And
But it does. It's supposed to.
yeah, I guess what it is anytime someone's like it's an acquired taste, I'm like I don't want to waste my time acquiring the taste.
No. But it's not. It's like
Good point.
it's not about the taste. It's more or less the point you're trying to reach. So like
Yeah, I would rather feel my feelings and think my thoughts than to feel better when I push them out.
Do you have anxiety? Do you have what's your anxiety level on a base level?
I think I'm a usual just anxious everywhere I go with everything. I probably would be happier with like
So
all
like
this
a
stuff.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty I would give me like a 6, 7, 6.
6 or 7. Out of
Just
10.
kind of all the time.
And then when you get home at the end of the day, what do you do to bring yourself down to maybe a 5?
TV and video games on my bed, just
So you're
done.
Okay.
The phone over there, not even thinking about anything. Just me and my laptop in my bed, but not in like a porn kind of way.
Right. But you're being divergent where you're not thinking about the situation by doing something else that would
Yeah.
diverge you from that. And that's what I do with horror movies. I mean, horror movies are a good way to do that too. But yeah, but as far as like having anything like in like your toolbox of dealing with anxiety, though, you don't no meditation.
No, because it's got to be real. Even like with like regular like like flus or stuff like that, it's got to be really bad for me to just decide to take medication. And as a result, when I do, so I'm a severely allergic person, so when it gets really bad, where I have to take medication to like kill the reaction, it works. Like Benadryl will work so great because I take so little of it. Usually,
Benadryl knock you the fuck out.
Dude, I love it, man, and I love
great flavor. Great flavor Benadryl.
Yeah, that's right. When I get the really bad reactions, I have to get hospitalized. They used to have to like give me prednisone for a week.
Reaction to
and
what?
I have everything green and growing, or just getting too hot and stressed, and my allergies just like let's get them. But I'm the happiest person on earth. The week after allergic reaction that I have to be hospitalized because of the medication. I would be such a successful heroin addict until the overdose because like I don't know what a lot of people have different reactions to prednisone, but for me it gives me all kinds of energy. So any of my stand up
is that steroid?
Yeah, it is. It gives me but some people say it does like the opposite. I also might have undiagnosed ADHD because all the things like caffeine chills me out instead of whatever. But But so no, prednisone will make me super hyperactive. It'll completely kill my appetite, so I'll like eat healthy or not at all. and like, you know, no sleep, like you're not tired at all. So you just feel like you can accomplish so much. And so every time I've ever had to get to that point with allergies, like I've had a great next week. I even remember one time I met a girl and scheduled a date for the next week, but she was like, I was like so confident and like so good at like asking her out and stuff like that. Then I met her the next week as like plain old me, and it was probably like.
Oh wow. I've never had allergic reactions that bad where I needed prednisone.
No, if it gets bad where like, you know, Benadryl and any kind of like over the counter medication it doesn't work, then you go to the hospital and then they pump you with like they probably just Benadryl you with an IV or something like that. They put something in you and then for the next week they give you prednisones to kind of keep everything down.
I think I got poison ivy in my mouth one time.
What?
And I went to the hospital at like midnight, and I was trying not to go to the hospital, so I was just waiting in the parking lot. And I was just like nervous, like my throat was maybe kind of feeling.
Blowing a tree or something.
Yeah,
I did have sex with a tree.
I was thinking it was like you because we were just talking about the bugs we were eating. He's like, yeah, and I thought might as well try this.
Grasshoppers and poison
Grasshopper
ivy.
was crawling in the poison ivy.
Happens to the best of us.
I had to take prednisone for a week or probably 2 weeks, I think, is what they, or something like that. I don't know.
What did it do to you?
Nothing.
This is so interesting.
Steroid.
It's funny how different things affect the body,
Right.
in that way.
Well, a lot of people say that it makes them gain weight, it makes them like really lethargic and stuff like that. And like for me, it was like I was like, oh, this is what it's like to be happy. This is what it's like to be successful.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
It does make you gain weight.
Drew's gonna admit his prednisone addiction tonight. I guess.
No, I know. When I'm taking it, I'm like, I can see why people get addicted to stuff like, and then I choose not to. So
Maybe do Adderall. I don't know if
Maybe.
that's good for you. Maybe that's
Well, if you're anxious, you are not going to be addicted to the medication your doctor prescribes. So,
That's not necessarily true.
I mean, kind of, but
Like, I was so scared to wean
Not in a
myself
bad
off
way.
of
Bad,
Xanax that like it really bothered me.
well, when it comes to medication, since we're talking about anxiety, my biggest fear with taking one medication to fix something else is it's going to create something bigger and worse, and I don't want that. So I just kind of, unless it's like just completely stopping me from dealing with life or whatever, I'm just like, this is fine.
do you do therapy at all?
No, because that costs money. I've often thought
get
like,
cheap
man,
therapy.
once I get more settled with stuff, I'll maybe give therapy a go.
If you're
but, like,
anxious, you got to do something about it.
yeah. I just like to just the old 80s or 90s style, just suppress it and figure it out. That's my go-to.
That works over a longer timeline, but doesn't do you over the shorter timeline of like your immediate future. It's kind of detrimental over time.
Yeah.
You know, everything winds up getting packed away, but it's always best to in my experience, to deal with everything head on, because I mean, once there's a lot of unresolved things that I wish I probably would have resolved rather than just letting them just kind of pack themselves away. And I'm not that type of dude that needs closure for anything, because I don't give two fucks. But again, sometimes you think maybe it'd been nice to have known, just to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, and therapists are not like necessarily going to change or solve your problem, but they can be like bounce ideas off them and be like, what if I asked this girl out, or what if I, my job is something weird,
But it also depends on the therapist, because you can really have the wrong person, because you got to think that it's just another shaved monkey on the other side of the fucking couch. You really have to have like the right person, because and I hate to say this again, because I don't want to keep bringing up religion, but in my aspect where my therapist was religion, the very last thing that she said to me was just like, well, maybe you need to find Jesus. And I was just like, I keep getting like pushed around. I was like, my doctor sends me to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist sends me to the therapist, and the therapist is like, you need Jesus. And I'm just like, for fucking real?
That's just
the
like
end
maybe
of it all.
maybe a belief in something will chill you out, but it's like that's not what this.
Yeah,
is
it
about.
almost
There's
from the
4,000
stance of like a
religions.
professional help. You're like, I feel like you're taking the cheap way out on that one.
Yeah, I think that's just a bad therapist.
Yeah.
I don't
There are
know.
4,000 religions in the world. To think that your religion is the one is just like, all right, you haven't obviously put enough thought into
But
that.
that's that religion, though. You put that God above all the others.
It's
and that
literally
God
rule number
is
one.
Exactly. Yeah,
For
yeah,
every
yeah.
single religion that's
Sure.
like that. Yeah.
But
But that's not they're not saying like this is gonna help you. They're saying, I don't know. I don't know anything.
if I was going to
Whatever.
even decide to be religious, like you said, there's so many other religions. Let's just say the top three. Like, which ones of the top three am I going for? The one that I, got brought up into. Am I going to be a Roman Catholic again because that's what or am I going to be a Buddhist? I knew a guy who was a Buddhist.
Judaism, Muslim, Muslims probably.
Which one is
the
like
second,
the Muslims really
something.
kind of freaked me out because when we started having the war in the Gulf in the early '90s, I started meeting a lot of people. The fact that they believed in Jesus, but they didn't think that he was the son of God. They just thought he was a prophet. And meeting these people and meeting these, and getting to know their other religions and everything really kind of made me think about shit. Because I was just like, well, there was no Jesus. Fuck, you fucking crazy. Doesn't exist. But then meeting people who are like, no, Jesus
Like the
existed.
person is a historical figure. I mean, that's the
Supposedly,
the question would be like, is he the son of God and did all those miracles happen because of him?
Or was he just
But the
a
question
prophet?
of was he a real person?
But I guess
That's still a question though, because all this stuff was written by dudes many years after.
That's what I was
his
about to
death.
say, because
Yeah.
the fact that they believe that there was a Jesus, and they're a completely different thing, but they believe yes, there is a Jesus, but yet he wasn't the son of God.
But I believe
he
it was
another
confirmed by
prophet.
completely not biblical texts, other ancient writings that confirmed his existence
Could be.
as a person.
Could be.
Not, I mean, they weren't saying oh man, he's the son of God. They were saying oh, that guy just got in trouble and is crucified, and that's a historic event.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Possibly. But again, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know where I would start with it because there's so many other things. Like Buddhism you guys ever get into like Alan Watt or anything like that? So Alan Watts, he went through all the different religions and everything through his lifetime, and he said that through all the ones that he went through, that Buddhism was kind of like mass therapy. Like if he was going to suggest any religion whatsoever, it was less a religion and more like mass therapy.
It's about internal peace.
Exactly. So I can get behind that. And if you're into Alan Watts, I would definitely say definitely listen to Alan after his religious phase, which is about 30 years. So his last 10 years is really where he's got his shit together to the point where you can kind of trust in what he's his philosophy of life and going through. Because before it is coming through a religious aspect that he believes at that time that he did throw away. Even when he went into Buddhism for a while, he still came out of it no, but yet again, if I was going to do any of them, it would be Buddhism. Which I had a friend that was a Buddhist, but he is now a neo-Nazi. So take it for
Seems
what
like
that.
a
That's a turn.
shift.
Yeah, that's a big turn, dog.
Trump.
Yeah.
It seems like religion's
it.
goal is to trick you into doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And however we have to pressure you into doing the right thing, whether it's guilt or whatever.
Scare tactics.
Muslim, Christian, Jewish, there are 4,000 religions. Every one of them is the goals of the religion are to get you to follow the societal contracts in our society.
To tribal.
Yeah, it's
Tribal.
there's so many religions. It's crazy. There's probably, something started everything, but there's so many people who have the instinct is to go, your kid says, where does the sun come from? You're like, I fucking don't know, shut up, kid. This guy, there's a woman and a moon and a man's son, and they, some story, and it just stories happen, To think that America, if a Christian was because Christianity is so common. Like Jesus is supposed to come back. If somebody came back and told you he was Jesus, there's never everybody would say you're crazy. This is a crazy person.
The weird part is over
they say
history,
he's
several
gotta come
people
back.
have done that, and they've developed a following, and it's really weird but fun history.
A
to
lot of
watch.
Latino
People develop followings.
Yeah,
like
one
that.
guy would have been around like World War II ish. I don't know, somewhere around that. I don't know the exact time frame.
Joseph Smith.
But he came back, and he had made such a big deal, and like people he was getting his people to kind of a lot of civil disobedience or not civil disobedience, where the government was like, what do we do about this guy? I mean, he's saying he's Jesus. He's saying that this is when they're coming back, and he's saying this is when he's taken to heaven, and all these people are believing him. What do we do? Of course, the first thought was like, well, should we kill him? And then someone really smart was like, don't kill him, because then he'll become a martyr just like Jesus, and it won't solve this problem. So they let the date, get to the date where he said, like, I'm taking you all to heaven. Nothing happened, and then eventually he died after that, the natural causes or something like that, and it's completely silent. But like, it was such a big deal where people were like, it was the question of like, how do we stop this person from? And I wish I could remember like the details and the name of the person, but I learned about this like in school many years ago. So, but it's interesting when you read people that it's either crazy people who are like, I am Jesus, or people that are trying to start movements and stuff like that.
True. I mean, I remember seeing it in the news before several times in the 2000s, like random guys in different countries, like saying that they're Jesus or something.
We had Waco, we had Heaven's Gate. I mean, we had a lot of different ones.
I think religions often, I mean, the goal is to guide people to live the correct way, to do right. But I think most of them in different wording often are saying like, when you connect, I'm going to say God, but it's different terms for depending on the religion. But when you connect with God, it's how you reconcile yourself, find your inner peace, and then that transforms you in a way where you live correctly. And so by following this God, following these teachings, it's going to lead you to not only have your own inner peace, but to be like a better person for other people. That seems to always kind of be the, like nowadays, modern day Christianity, the kinds you see on the news, the kind that supports Trump kind of stuff, it is so wrong from actual Christianity. I mean, essentially Christianity in a nutshell is all about realizing, like, you accept that all the sinfulness and wrongness internally and externally, and you're like, I need help with this. So the help comes from God, and through that you're transformed and given the freedom to do the right thing instead of giving into doing the bad thing. It's a lot about loving God and loving others. But so many people use Christianity, their interpretation of Christianity, to justify their bigotry, to justify their greed, to justify their treating others less than, which is so funny because if you look at the historical figure of Jesus, and then even if you look at the figure of Jesus you read about in the Bible, whether it's backed up with history or not, it's so different than what people actually are saying. Like, no, this as a Christian we should, because people who are like, as Christians we should close our borders. That's not Christian. People are like, as Christians we should hold on to all this wealth and not give it to other people, or pick and choose who gets it or not. That's not Christian. As Christians we should hate these kind of people, or we should say these people don't need to go to church, or these people are abominations under the eyes of God. Like, nothing in the Bible actually supports that. And when people say it does, they're completely missing the context. It's not unlike reading the verse about the horse ejaculate and being like, that's about a horse. When it's really about a woman describing a dude's cock.
Yeah.
So
much of it is like not focused on the right message. It's like Jesus saves, or that'll be on the billboard, or like Jesus is Lord. It's like that's argumentative and not helpful. It should be do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
And fucking think about that, when you see like a poor person on the street,
But you also have the corruption, and then you have the greed.
Yeah, that's the whole problem. Is people are like trying to justify wars. Like, we know Jesus really didn't love it when we killed people, but we gotta just kill these people.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. In the church, they always talk about, being in the world but not being of the world, and don't let worldly thing influence you. But I think if Christians take a good, long, hard look at mainstream Christianity, they can admit that the worldly bigotry and sin and stuff like that has infiltrated, mainstream Christian views.
So much now with like social media as far as just the craziest shit that I've ever heard before. It's not even just anti or pro Christian. It's crazy shit. Like some of the shit makes me laugh. You know, like birds aren't real and shit like that. That's just that's for fun. Everybody knows that's for fun.
Silly.
It's silly now, but there was a chunk of people that believed it so much that the guy who said the theory came back, and I'd be like, "Look, guys, I made it up."
The birds aren't real?
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Well, birds are dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So technically,
dinosaurs.
they aren't birds. Kind of.
Sure. But this guy said they were all surveillance.
Oh, yeah, that's not what I've learned.
Yeah.
It's by the same people that replaced Avril Lavigne.
Oh, so the thing. So there's a lot of people
And
think
Chad
like
Kroger or whoever else.
Dave Chappelle. People think Dave
Chappelle,
Chappelle's a clown.
The Chappelle clown.
I'm still waiting for them to bring back Paul Walker. I know it's happening before the last Fast and Furious movie. I know it. That's going to be the big stunt.
So do you think that that's the big move where you get so rich that you fake your own death?
Just go live on an island somewhere.
I think you say there's like an island with a bunch of just people who are supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
Like there's Elvis there. He's being pumped with IVs. He's still kicking it. Jim Morrison is still there. He's kicking it. You know, everyone's got all these advanced genetics that they're testing out on all these old rock stars and comedians.
Or it's like a secret government facility where they're there against their will and they're being tested so we can figure out what made them so talented and put it in babies later.
It could be like DARPA. You know, you never know.
What's DARPA?
You don't know DARPA? I'm not getting it.
I don't know if we can get into that.
We'll Google it later.
We don't need.
Next
Okay,
Not
we'll
on this
Google that
channel.
one.
Invite me on your channel and
Next
talk
podcast.
about DARPA.
Quarter Mile
Right.
Podcast.
Yeah, I'll come on the quarter mile. We're talking about DARPA and Vin Diesel.
DARPA
and his involvement.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
That should be the name of this episode, I think.
No. How long? What time is it? How long have we been going?
I might need to.
9:15.
9 o'clock.
We've
Yeah,
probably
okay.
gone
We did enough
an
damage
hour and a half.
to everybody's
More.
career. Ladies and gentlemen, from me and Nick Weir and Mr. Drew Davis and Patrick
Divine.
Devine.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
Do you ever dress in drag? Devine?
No, but I love that one. What's that one movie? That clip from that one movie she's in?
Was she the dog shit?
Yeah, she's like, "What are your views on the world? Eat shit now." Wait, what did you say? Whatever it is great.
On that note, fuck you all. Good night.
Yeah,
Fuck
I'm
you all,
going.
good night.
Fall off.
The Preds won. Go Preds.